Okay folks, here you can see I've put the head back on now. Now all I basically done there was obviously check that the head was square by running a straight edge across it, which it was, and I've installed the new gaskets as you saw in the previous video. So all it basically is a matter of just basically dropping the head onto the two locating dowels, one at either end, sitting it on there, and then putting the 10 bolts, as you can see there, the cylinder head long bolts, in their holes, and then you have to go through the tightening procedure. The first thing I done was to tighten the bolts up in the correct sequence. They show you the sequence in the manual, to 15 foot-pounds. So you basically tighten each individual bolt up, blah blah, to 15 foot-pounds, and once you've actually achieved that, that is stage 1 of the cylinder head tightening sequence. Now once you got to that stage, then what I done, I put on the actual bolt head to itself, I don't know if you can see there, I put a little, where is it? I put a little mark there in black felt pen on the side of the inner casing, and I also put a corresponding mark on that side of the actual bolt. So each one of them bolts, as you can see, had a bolt mark put on the side and a notch with a bit of felt tip pen put on the actual bolt head. And the procedure then is what you do. Stage 2 of the tightening sequence is to tighten every bolt 180 degrees. Well, 180 degrees obviously is halfway round. So all you do then is to go around the whole sequence again, but this time that's our starting point, don't forget, for tightening sequence 2. So you want that little line on the bolt facing the other way, which is 180 degrees. So you basically do that to all your bolts until all the lines are pointing the other way, and once you've achieved that, what you then do is what they call the third and final stage tightening sequence, and that is to tighten the bolt again, and this time going another 180 degrees. So basically that line which was now over there, you tighten it around until it lines up with its corresponding mark again. So basically what you do is, as I said, the initial tightness is 15 foot-pounds on each bolt in the correct sequence. Then mark your bolts. It's a lot easier to do that like I've just done there. 180 degrees turn, puts a little mark in the centre of the bolt facing the other way, and then you do that to all the bolts. And then the final tightening sequence, which is stage 3, is to turn the bolts through another 180 degrees, which brings it basically back to its start position, which it's at now. I've finally done that, and all the bolts are in that final start position, as you can see there. And that is the cylinder head back on. Now I'll just show you underneath the car again, because I left the sump off at this moment in time. I'm going to put it on now, but you obviously don't need to see that. I just want to show you the oil rail back in position. As you can see, remember that I showed you that on my actual table in the previous video. Now I don't know if you can see there, these little tips here, there, and there, those are the 5 cylinder head bolts that actually come and attach through into this oil rail, as I showed you. So the oil rail is only held on by these 2 nuts here, obviously initially, before you actually put the head bolts in. One there and one, as I showed you, back over there. So once you've put them 2 bolts on to hold the oil rail in place, it then gives you all your fixings for your cylinder head. As you can see, the cylinder head bolts don't fit to the block at all. They fit literally to this aluminium oil rail, I think it's called, yeah, the oil rail. And that is basically what you do there. So all I've basically got to do now, the reason, as you know, I had to take that off is because that end bolt there had snapped and was stuck in there, and I had to remove the oil rail to get the bolt out. So that is, if you do snap a bolt in the cylinder head, that's probably going to be your procedure. Take the sump off like I showed in the previous video, and take that oil rail out, and then you can basically just unscrew that remaining stud left in there. If at all at any stage you actually strip a thread, then obviously you've got to replace the oil rail, which you can buy obviously from a Landrover specialist, or even on eBay. I've seen them on now, and I think there's a modified version now. I don't know what that's for, but so stripping a bolt is not the be all and end all as if it was screwing into the block, because all you've got to change is the oil rail. So I'm going to carry on now, putting the sump back on and all the ancillary parts. If there's any points I need to make, I'm not going to actually show you the installation. There's plenty of YouTube videos showing you a cylinder head reassembly, so you don't really need to know that. Anyway, hope that's been of some help to you. Thanks very much.